Hi, this is Christopher Conlan with the Open to Hope Foundation. I'm here with our founder, Dr. Gloria Horsley, and the author of the In-Law Survival Guide. What recommendations or things would you recommend people pay attention to when dealing with their in-laws?
Well, I think if you're listening to this YouTube spot, you may have a problem with your in-laws, and you won't be alone. There are a lot of problems with in-laws, and a lot of times people don't talk about them. Loss of an in-law is a big one. And this is kind of interesting because there are two kinds of in-laws that are most difficult to deal with a loss. The first one is, believe it or not, the beloved in-law. That in-law who was like a mother, a father, a sister to you. That in-law that you lost, that you really lost a person that was major in your life. What happens is when people have that kind of loss, they look to the biological family as though they were part of it. And strangely enough, something happens at that time. The biological family can often merge together. People can come from out of town, people that you didn't even know, and all of a sudden you're an outsider and you are the beloved in-law. So now what do? Well, what we recommend to you is try not to get your feelings hurt when they don't ask you to stand in the line at the viewing or whatever. Try to get other people that you love and that support you and know that you are a beloved in-law of this person, to have them come with you to events, maybe sit with you at the funeral and be with you, and realize that you may feel a bit of an outsider, but that it's a natural process. The second in-law that's a real problem relationship, believe it or not, Chris, is the in-law from hell. That in-law from hell that you thought was a hellacious in-law may be missed because the family has changed their patterns around the in-law from hell. And one in-law said to me, she had an in-law from hell, and she went to the funeral and she was upset because all people said about this woman was how fabulous she was. And this woman, the in-law, daughter-in-law, said she was a real tyrant. It was terrible. Nobody said anything about how difficult she made everyone's life. And what could you say to her? But that's not what we do at funerals. And when they're gone, and you're not going to be able to take your angst out on the in-law from hell. And you need to find other places to put that energy, because guess what? If you don't, you're going to be the next in-law from hell. So there are two other issues that are really happen with when an in-law dies. One of them is the beloved items. The rocking chair of Uncle Joe's, the vase of Aunt Mary's, whatever. You're an in-law, you have seen those things, you have coveted those, maybe you were even promised those in a lot of cases. People were promised a plate or a dish or something, and they're oftentimes very small items, and then the biological family comes in and takes it over, and the in-law does not get what they felt was their due. Well, you know what? Most of this stuff isn't worth being the in-law from hell for. So I always recommend to people, if you really look at it, one person even went in and had some plates valued, and they were worth, $20, and she thought they were some, priceless things. They weren't. So I suggest that you go to an antique store or maybe a junk store and look for some of those items, and maybe do a little ritual where you say, put Aunt Mary's picture on the chair and sit on it and rock with it, or whatever you want to do, so you have that. So those things aren't really worth it. The next thing is the items that are worth it. Lots of money, lots of things can go down, where I know one in-law who left all of her money to children that were not the biological children of the family. She was the second wife. But you've got to decide whether or not you want to stand up and get your partner who's a biological person. Remember, biology rules. Whether you want them to stand up. Is it worth it? Is it worth having problems for the rest of your life with that family? And it may be. And maybe in this case they did get the money back. The children, the stepchildren were willing to give the money back, but the relationship's never ever been the same. But it may be worth it. Remember one last thing, and that is that you are teaching your own children the way that they're going to treat their in-laws when you're an in-law. So be very careful and cautious, and good luck in your in-law relationships.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gloria, and don't forget to visit us at www.opentohope.com.
Thanks, Chris.
Tonight I hold this candle in memory of you. Hope in some way, somehow, my love will shine through. I close close my eyes, lost in the glow. There are so many things I want you to know. This candle says I love you. This candle says I miss you. This candle is saying